If you're new, couldn't be a better time. You did it. You timed it perfectly. When's the right time to show up at a party? Right as everybody's hitting the groove, and that's exactly what we're up to on this day number 234 of Office Hours. Hello, you beautiful people. I'm Brian Brushwood. Every single day I go live for Office Hours. It's the 5 Nation Fandom Check-In. We go live on a couple of different YouTube channels over at x.com. We even go live to the dozens of living humans remaining back at linkedin.com. But the important part is that we have an important job to do. There are 2 things happening. Number 1, I don't know if you noticed, all of human society is rewriting all of the rules to, just about everything. So we keep you apprised of all of the big old trends happening at the front lines of, there's got to be a name for this great rewiring that we're doing right now. Some kind of great resorting of things. Anyway, we look at all the artifacts. We tell you the why of what's going on beneath the surface. Because, spoiler alert, almost everybody uses a bunch of words that aren't really the words they mean to use. Because nobody says exactly what's going on at all times. That's what we cover right here. But of course, the important part, the most pressing issue, the whole reason that I started going live 233 days ago is because bad guys got robots now. Fraud is exploding on a national, international level. A geometric progression. There's a hockey stick graph of fraud. So to practice, so that we just sniff out the rhythms of when we are being deceived, we go to the cognitive gym. We're going to watch an old episode of Scam School. This is episode number 129, originally titled Learn the Easiest Sleight of Hand in Minutes. We're going to break this down. We're going to figure out why this works. We're going to do some degenerate gambling, and then we're going to check out this today's clip of a dude getting arrested for talking too long at a public hearing about data centers. Spoiler alert, not everyone is having the same conversation. We're going to find out all about it. But first, let's watch episode 129 of Scam School. Learn the easiest sleight of hand in minutes. Here we go.
This week you become a sleight of hand genius with wizardry. Wizardry. This episode of Scam School brought to you by the National Campaign Against Drunk Driving. Over the limit, under arrest. Who wants to spend Labor Day in jail? And Squarespace. Welcome to the show that'll teach you to keep your wallet full and your liver begging for mercy. Scam School, the only show dedicated to social engineering at the bar and on the street. I'm your host, Brian Brushwood, and no matter who you are, no matter what you do, you need to know at least one supremely kick-ass magic trick. So we are going to tread into hardcore sleight of hand territory as we learn the vanish. I'm vanishing. What is going on, gentlemen? I am Brian.
I'm Eric.
Eric, it is good to meet you. And Long, we know Long from back in the day.
See you.
All right, here's the thing. It is my firm belief that everybody has to learn at least one really kick-ass magic trick. And I know a lot of people, for them, it's this awkward coin vanish that they do for their nephew. We're gonna learn something kick-ass, nothing less than true magic, and it was taught to me by a world champion magician. And the best part is you don't even need flashy finger dexterity in order to blow your friends away. So in fact, and what's great is with coin magic, a lot of times it's with a little tiny quarter or something very small. We're gonna use a big fat honking cork. Now normally if I was a magician-y type, I would use like a giant magic ball of some variety and a magic wand. We don't have magic wands, so we're gonna use these straws right here. But check them both out, make sure there's nothing tricky about them. And of course that's magician code for there's something very tricky about them. And what's great is a lot of magic tricks, you promise one thing and then you totally don't deliver it. But I swear to you, I'm going to close my fist around this. I'm going to tap 3 times and it will disappear. Would that be kick-ass? Yeah. He says guardedly. All right, here it comes. No lie. Corks in the hand. We go 1, 2, 3. All right, no, it's just a gag, right? Because it's up here. All right, here we go. But here's the important part. Ready? 1, 2.
You douchebag. Where'd he go?
So you like that then? The important question, do you want to learn that? Well, I will walk you through and give you a personal tutorial, but first we have to thank our sponsors.
Holy moly, what a strong opening. That's a good opening tagline. Welcome to the show, the only show that keeps your wallet full and your liver begging for mercy. I thought that was pretty good. And then also the performance is good enough. This is one that I'd only practiced a few times. And of course, what you want to do is you want to radiate absolute confidence like you've done it 18 million times before. But it's close enough. You can tell Brian has at least rehearsed it a few times. The Michael Lamar, originally this was in his VHS, I was going to call it a VHS DVD. He was in his VHS cassette series, Icebreakers. And this is the first time that we're treading into classic sleight of hand magic. Now, keep in mind, in the meta, magicians still have not decided whether or not they can conceive of learning magic for free. Oh, here, we'll get into this.
Built into one, and both of them rely on misdirection. Both of them imply you're going to do one thing, and instead you zig when you should be zagging. And in this case, you can take a nice big object like a cork, and I'll walk you through the explanation with all the different beats. All you have to do is remember the timing on how to pull off A, B, and C, and you should be home free. A lot of people think it's all about like you've got to have careful fingers and well-crafted dancing maneuvers. That's not the case with this. It's all about timing and body posture. So I'm going to work with you guys on this, and then we'll see if you're able to pull it off yourself. First thing, you can do this impromptu with any object you have laying around. As long as you could close your fist all the way around it, you can use a cork, or obviously this is too big, but you could take the top of a salt shaker, something, as long as you can close your fist around it, that's all you need. Second thing is whatever object you use as the magic wand has to be able to sit behind your ear. And it's important that you actually play with this, because I got weird shaped ears, or if you wear glasses, sometimes you'll set a pen up there and it'll just fall right off. So make sure that you actually practice with the object that you're going to use. So the first step, as you guys figure out after the fact, you set everything up, put it in your hand, you close your fist around it, and you promise. Now the phrasing is important. You gotta say, I swear, I'm gonna tap it 3 times and it's gonna disappear. And make sure, I didn't say it was the cork, but I'm gonna keep my word, right? So I build up the tension as much as I can, saying I'm not gonna cheat, I'm not gonna switcheroo when you're not watching. I'm gonna go 1, 2, 3. Now you'll notice some people, when they do it wrong, what they do is they go 1, 2, 3, right? So what you wanna do is take your time with it. So instead, every time I come up, I'm actually practicing each time I slide it up into my ear. So any of those 3 times, I could let go and let it stay. So that way on the 3rd time, the rhythm is all the same. So I go 1, 2, 3. The moment it vanishes, people will look you in the eye. So instead, you wait until that moment of vanish. When you know they're looking, you look up, and then you relax your body. You're like, they will be amazed because they won't know what happened. During that beat, you relax, and you smile, and you turn and show what you got here. Now at this point, this is when all of their tension is completely released. They now see, oh, I got it, I was fooled, but now I see how it's done. Everyone thinks the trick's over, which is the best possible time to use that misdirection to drop the cork inside your pocket. Once it's in my pocket, I make sure that I don't clench my fist all the way, because you could tell nothing's in there. And make sure to hold it with some air in the middle so it looks exactly how my fist would look if there was an object in there. But then this is the moment that you've got to reintroduce the big effect, because you've already done the small one. You have the cork, you go 1, 2, 3, it vanishes, you relax the body and you point to what's going on. Use the cover to drop it into your pocket, and then come back for a second go round. That's when you gotta reset everything and say, no, but seriously, if the cork vanished, would that have been cool? And if you're the scammer type, you would say, in fact, if the cork vanished, would that have been good enough to buy me a free drink? They're like, well, yeah. You're like, all right, now watch. 1, 2, 3. There's absolutely nothing there. And what's great is you're totally clean. This hand is clean, and the first thing they're gonna do when this hand is clean is look at the other hand, and that's when you're able to drop it and show both hands completely free. It's completely vanished. And in fact, if you have a confederate, you could even work out a thing where you do a handoff with them and it ends up in some other part of the bar. Any questions about what we've learned so far? Now, what's great, because you notice there's nothing that required double joints or any kind of special practice with your hands. It's all just in the timing and the body posture. So the only question that remains is which one of you two is going to attempt to pull it off. All right, looks like it's gonna be Eric, but first we gotta thank our sponsors, dude.
3 cheers for introverts.
Squarespace is a publishing system.
So in this case, both Long and our volunteer, a little bit quiet, but also this is a big teaching episode. So this doesn't quite strike that perfect alchemy balance. If all things being equal, if it's possible to have kind of an electricity with the student, but not in a way that overpowers the trick. This one, the trick is the star of the show. Second place goes to Brian's relatively polished explanation of the trick. Not bad. I give myself full marks for that teaching of it. But it is obviously very information rich and dense. In fact, we'll take I wonder, let's see. Oh, yeah, you can see during this information dump, the retention data is flat, flat, flat. Everyone's just sitting through it. But then we get to the performance again. So look at this. We get a spike. Oh, here we go.
Hey, well, you do your thing.
Have here regular chord. Check it out for me.
All right, nice and regular.
Have here a regular makeshift wand.
Regular.
All right. On 3 taps, I promise you, I'm going to make it disappear.
Okay.
All right? Ready?
Yep.
1, 2, 3.
That's awesome. And you're taller than me, so.
Yeah, you can't see it at all right now, can you?
All right, here we go. You ready? 1, 2, 3.
And it's.
And he passes the chorus. See how easy it is? All right, my only comment here is that I always bristle when somebody says, here I have a regular blank, because the moment they say that, I'm like, you, sir, are a liar. That's got to be a trick. So instead, the one thing I would say is just relax about it. The less the deal you make about it, the better it'll be. If you're just like, oh, this is kind of cool. I know something I could do with a salt shaker and one of these. Here, watch closely. And if you act like it's not a big deal, then they're going to take it as not a big deal. And they're genuinely going to be surprised, both when the straw vanishes, and again, when the actual item vanishes. I couldn't put it in my pocket in time. But regardless, you guys did a phenomenal job. Congratulations, you passed the course. First and foremost, want to give a huge thanks to world champion magician and supreme badass Michael Amar for allowing us to share this trick. It's on his DVD called Icebreakers, which you can find at www.amarmagic.com. Do me a favor and use promo code SCAMSCHOOL at checkout and you'll get a discount on this and all of his materials. Second of all, as with all sleight of hand effects, you've got to do your practice before you get out in front of an actual crowd. So get yourself a partner and practice one-on-one. Don't just rely on doing it for the mirror, because your friend is going to spot things that you're going to miss. I want to hear about your success stories and failure stories, so post them at the boards at revision3.com/scamschool, where you can see all of our episodes right back to episode 1. If you're doing the Twitter thing, you can follow the show at twitter.com/scamschool, or follow me personally at twitter.com/schwood and find out when I will be in your hometown and we can get together for a beer if you're over 21. If you want to suggest your favorite bar scam, write me directly at brian@revision3.com and join us next week as we go on an environmental rampage and destroy every incandescent bulb we see using our minds. But until then, I'm going to use a sledgehammer. I hate you, incandescent bulbs!
It's so funny. You can really kind of tell that, like, just Brian LLM just looks around, sees the thing, has a take, looks up, sees incandescent bulbs, thinks about the fact that energy efficient CFPs and LEDs are taking over, runs around, and then just comes up with a bit for it. Turns out, not exactly unpredictable. But here's the important part. That was a good episode. I give that one a 10 out of 10. Actually a 9 out of 10. The only things I would improve are some of the interactions, add a little layer of comedy in there, make the trick a little bit higher stakes. But in terms of solid, archetypal Scam School episode, 10 out of 10. That's the real deal. So now we're going to gamble on it. If you guys are new here, here's the deal. This episode came out just before Labor Day, as we just heard, in 2010, but We don't know which ones were hits and which ones were not. So we have a clue. We know that this one was called Learn the Easiest Sleight of Hand in Minutes. And the thumbnail just had my dumb mug. But how many views did it get? So here's what I want you to do. I want you to head on over to guessattack.com, guessattack.com. And I want you to log your guess. And we'll see who was the closest. 4 important points. These are status points. They matter a lot. ATL John Boy thinks it's 240,000. Sinewave says 761,776. Fin Boy, how many of you guys woke up with Fin stuck in your head? Do 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 do. Korometoriku says 69,420. Argyle Gargoyle with 282,000 on the nosy. Joey H666 with 500,000. Flycar 100 says 275,000. Banterat with 369,000. Matt York YT with 217,000. Kian Lafford with 90,000. G James B with 269,310. Evil Eagle with 175,000, and the actual number of, here, we'll go ahead and do this just a little bit smaller. The actual number is 461,086. Oh, here we go. I got to do bang guesses closed. There we go. Pow, pow. Votes are locked in, and that means our winner is... Wait for it. Joey H666 with a guess of 500,000. Congratulations, Joey H666. Here's to you and the fact that you woke up 1 hour earlier than usual. Salute. You are truly a champion of the world. Lo, when Barack Obama did win an award, he did dedicate it to the future endeavors of Joey H666, hoping that one day Joey could bring peace to settle the argument of who knew whatever. Hey, Trilby, congratulations at 525,000. You get a silver medal. And Banterat, good job, guys. Wow, that sort of ran out of nowhere. But that's fine. All right, guys, let's get to our main story. If you are unfamiliar, we have a living document. If you go to officehours.themodernroad.com, shouts out to Sign for putting this together. You guys could just pop all of this stuff in. Let's do... Center. Here we go. We're going to take a look at the body cam footage of somebody talking at a data center meeting. Now, here's the thing. Number one. Do any of you guys care to apologize to the movie Eddington? It is not Eddington's fault that very few people got the point of Eddington, that very few people got distracted by all the reasons to fight that weren't the significant issue. Meanwhile, Eddington very patiently laid out in front of everyone the real issue, which is how we're going to wrestle with data centers all these years later. Eddington, that movie was very prescient, and it is hilarious to me that so few people got it. Doesn't matter. But the important part is now we're having a fight about data centers. Of course, we're not really having a fight about data centers. Of course, we're not really having a fight about environmental use of water at data centers. We're not really having a fight about not in my backyardism. Everybody's got all of their own anxieties pent up in a billion different ways. And there are, let me be very clear about this, there are very serious negative externalities about not data centers specifically inherently, but specifically for the speed running that we're doing on building data centers. Whenever there is market demand this high for a thing and regulation is involved, this is when you get a lot of, again, discount whatever I'm saying. I am a jaded, cynical, outsider, anarcho-capitalist who, all things being equal, don't trust government entities, bureaucracies, locked-in power structures. And all of a sudden, you got these sleepy little governments with established power structures, little municipalities, and astonishing checks being written with so many zeros at the end that a gazillion D moments are going to be looking the other way. So you get artifacts like these. I have not yet seen this footage. We're going to watch it together, but I'm going to make my predictions before we go into it. Number one, I'm going to assume that just about everyone is a good faith actor, give or take. Actually, no, I'm not going to assume that. I'm going to assume everybody means well, even if they're all confused. But things I'm going to be looking out for, I'm going to be looking out for crowd dynamics, because what technically shouldn't be affected by there being an audience is very much affected by there being an audience. It is impossible, almost impossible, to have a good faith conversation between two people when there is a third person watching. And all people need to know is that somebody eventually will watch this, and it will affect the way that they have discourse. There are a number of, second thing I'm going to look for, overcorrections, because there are structures to these things that exist for a reason. However, enforcement of these structures is up to the moment. It's a bit like getting pulled over for a speeding ticket. You were speeding, technically, you are owed, you got to pay because you went 2 miles over a speed limit or whatever. But of course, it's discretionary in the police officer. Now, whether he's having a good day or a bad day, finds you rude or not rude, is suspicious of you, is not suspicious of you, all those things color the enforcement of it. And so in this case, I assume that it's probably no BS that somebody goes over time, but there's a moment, by and large, we're all ruled by our autonomic systems, our autopilot, what Daniel Kahneman called System 1 thinking, our lizard brain, the amygdala. What we perceive as free will is System 2 thinking. It is a story that we tell ourselves as we watch what we're doing. So as a result, maybe in the overcorrection that we're about to see, if there is an overcorrection, maybe everything's very sensible. I don't know. I'm going to bet that everybody will be able to point to technically why what they did made sense all up and down the way. But of course, ultimately, it can be as simple as somebody's body posture was too haughty. Look, man, our System 1 brains are really wild, the way they're constantly engineered to constantly be taking in data from other social positioning of primates. All right, here we go. In February, police in Claremore, Oklahoma arrested farmer Darren Blanchard for speaking a little too long during a community meeting about data centers. The city charged Blanchard with criminal trespass, a crime with a $200 penalty, but he's vowed to fight the charge. He recently shared video of the body cam footage. Here we go. Let's just take a look at this. Oh, let's kill this. Here we go. So this is police officer's body cam. And again, by the way, the body cam issue is altering things in terms of cops now know that they're on the record for everything at all times. That's going to alter the calculus as well. There we go.
Darren Blanchard of Claremore.
Isn't it wild how we've all been in that exact room? Like, we all know exactly what that room looks like. I don't know where in America it is, but it's the same room. So place your bets. Is he for it or against it?
I'd like to talk a moment about compliance, specifically compliance with the Open Records Act. I was a compliance officer for about a decade, so I know a thing or two about rules and regulations, and I got news for you. There are major concerns about the public process in Claremore. I filed a few records requests with the city and the county.
Okay, so here's what we're looking at. At this point, during the story, I'm certain that he has a point that he wants to do. Now, if this was a YouTube video, I would have notes on the amount of time he's taking before he lets in the audience into knowing what their role is during this story. Number one, keep in mind that the role of the audience is one thing. The role of the city council is another thing. But so far, we've heard a story. I look at identity and roles and character. We have a story about him in the past. That's another layer of abstraction. In a previous role about compliance and open records or whatever. That's all great, but understand each spinning plate is more cognitively taxing for the audience. And there's a moment that usually everyone gets it. Oh, I get where this is headed. My role is a judge. My role is a fly on the wall. My role is to choose who's the winner and who's the loser. My job is the student to learn a thing. So far, we're a few seconds in and we haven't gotten there. And oftentimes at public places where people are legally granted the opportunity to speak and be heard, sometimes people act as though they're there for the words they're saying, but really they're there for the feelings of being heard. It's very hard to distinguish between the bull riders and the actual people there to do something. So I'm waiting for the overcorrection. We'll see.
And it's amazing what I found. First, I want to talk about what compliance looks like. I filed a records request on January 8th asking for all communications with third parties that characterize, summarize, or profile citizens.
Okay, so imagine you're in the audience. We're now 1 minute in. We've heard a lot of things in the past of the things that the main character, the speaker, did. And then now we hear a list. The moment you say first, let me guess, is there going to be a second, a third, a fourth? So we're in for a lot of these. That's fine. You can get your audience in for a list, whether your audience is the council or the people in the audience. You could get them along the ride for a bulleted list, but they got to know their role. And we're still not being told their role. We don't know where this is headed. In speaker circles, they would say, imagine how different this would be, where it's like, I'm going to tell you a short story, and in 90 seconds, you're going to be asking the same question I did. Do we need Form 27B/6? Now you framed it. You put brackets around the whole story. You're not going to lose us. I'm giving notes on the story. That's not really what this is about, but that's fine. We got to talk about something during this.
Who have asked about public records or who have filed records requests. Basically, I asked for the Claremore watch list. I didn't know what to expect, but I received an email record from October, courtesy Maggie Froman Knight, sent direct to Lauren Harvey of Bill Infrastructure, saying there was a private citizen who inquired about the Shell LLC Bill uses to acquire property. To Ms. Froman Knight's credit, she did not name this person, but she provided Ms. Harvey with identifiable traits of this.
So notice how the story has pivoted. I thought this was a story about open records, but now only by the absence of what we're being told, we can intuit that there's a grievance and somebody did something bad. Still very difficult to penetrate the story.
Person, including where she lived, what she did for a living, and what her family's role was in this community. She even assessed this person's threat level, engaged her motive for Project Mustang, and also noted that she was active in the Project Clydesdale hearings in Tulsa County.
Ad Raven is asking, why is the cameraman sticking his fingers in the shot? Remember, this is a body cam footage, so this is a police officer. So this is we've talked a bit about this. I am really dialed in on how small design nudges have an outsized effect on the story as they're portrayed. In this case, the placement of the body cam, as you know, when you're a cop, you're standing at attention for a very long time. So there are certain places you hold your body, and the most comfortable place is going to be with your finger, unfortunately, right next to the body cam thing, which, again, that's the kind of thing where probably nobody was thinking about the design layout on that having an effect like this, whether it's to obscure. Again, we're all shaped by stories. It's fascinating.
Now, I'm saying she. How do I know it's she? Because I can look at the meeting minutes from Tulsa County from July, and I read a list of all the names that spoke at that meeting. I can look up those names and see where they live. Shayna Atkins is on that list, and she lives in Rogers County.
So you could tell from the pacing that he perceives he's dunking, and maybe everyone in the room is already hip to this, and we're the ones showing up late.
I guess
I don't know.
But I have a follow-up question. I'm on that list too. So what's my threat level? Do I give you quote-unquote hype?
There it is. There it is. Finally, it's clear. Finally, it's clear. There is a list that, so clearly stated, as I understand it, now walking in way after the fact, after this poor man was arrested and is trying to clear his name. And now I'm critiquing his presentation style. But then again, it's 8:30 in the morning on a Monday. What else are we going to do with our lives? So at this point, he finally makes it clear. Now we get to the emotional thing. The emotional thing is always the important thing. But you must never say the emotional thing is the important thing, because nobody wants to be perceived as an emotional creature. In sales, we see this as the heart buys and then seeks confirmation from the Spock brain on there. So in this case, we're finally getting to the real anxiety of you are making lists and setting people as threat levels. That is deeply concerning to me as a citizen. Probably could be okay to start with that. I don't think that would have been a weak opening.
Concern? Should I be worried? City Council? This is alarming. This is beyond Ms. Frohman Knight's scope of duty. The Claremore Industrial Economic Development Authority has a fiduciary responsibility to the public, not to build infrastructure. And this act of overreach is putting the health and safety of members of this community at risk. Quite frankly, this is embarrassing, it's disgusting, this is absolutely shameful, and I ask you to place Ms. Frohman Knight on administrative leave until you can figure out what the hell is going on with your government.
Okay. We're closer to... So what's interesting is not knowing any of the specifics and not having a dog in the fight. It's very clear that that taps into an emotionally charged vein in the room.
Okay. On the other spectrum, non-compliance. I put in another records request on January 29th asking for all city contracts, including NDAs signed with organizations or businesses that have been sanctioned by the United States Treasury Department, specifically the Office of Terrorism and Financial Intelligence. The response I got back was, quote unquote, no records exist. Seems like a good answer, but that was a bad move, my friend. Mr. Fury, you signed an NDA in early 2024. That was with IPI Partners. IPI was rebranded as Bill Infrastructure. What's interesting, just a couple of months ago, IPI Partners was in the news, and not in a good way. They were cited in an enforcement release by the Office of Terrorism and Financial Intelligence for knowingly accepting substantial funding from sanctioned foreign investors. No, I'm reclaiming my time. Now this sounds like a bad thing, and it is.
So notice that body posture change from the cop, because what's the cop's role during all this? They're about to become a character, and you can see there was a bit of a reset there for the cop. I don't know if he's perceiving that things are escalating, or perceiving that we're about to, maybe he was told we'd like to be tight on time, but that was definitely a squaring up moment.
Reclaiming my time.
That right there. Did you guys notice that, by the way?
Now this sounds like a bad thing, and it is. But from my standpoint, you're not in compliance with the...
There it is. Okay, so now we have gone off the rails. So far, not off the rails. We are bumping up against the border. So far, we've had everything on rails, but heightened. We're tapping into crowd frustration. To be honest, like if I was there in the room, I wouldn't know what I was clapping for, but I'd be like, somebody did their homework and somebody's getting dunked on. And then that's the job of the crowd, is to clap.
Now this sounds like a bad thing, and it is. But from my standpoint, you're not...
Okay, so I don't know what that dude shouted, but now he's either saying too much or not enough of something.
The Open Records Act. Because you said no records exist. Oh, but they do exist.
Yeah, and so at this point, you can feel the spin up, and so the cop is perceiving that this is something other than the meeting. This is not in the script for the meeting.
Right here, black and white. So
yes, disagreements are in the script. Yes, a healthy push back and forth in the marketplace of ideas is in the script, but at some point, it may stop looking like a civilized meeting and start to look like something else, and that's The cop's job is to evaluate whether or not this is continuing to look like a city council meeting or not.
Here's my question. John, were you lying then about the records I asked for, or are you lying now? And what's Bill's response?
Will somebody give
You all no longer work.
Okay, so now they're being asked to intervene at this point, because also at this point, if this is a good faith discussion, then usually there's a question mark somewhere in there and an opportunity to respond. But of course, this has the trappings of being a good faith discussion, but of course is nothing of the sort. He's playing a different game. Everybody is playing a different game. By the way, if you haven't read it, read Will Storr's The Status Game. And when you think of humans as status-seeking individuals playing different games, a lot of this becomes clear.
What's going on?
You need to leave.
Okay, there we go. So at this point, we need to leave enforcement. And at this point, in his game, if he leaves, he's left something on the table because he can tell he has enthusiasm and momentum and he wants to get the most out of it. So at this point, it may make sense to step outside of the precise rules of propriety. Now, whether or not that calculus is a good idea or not.
Done with the mic. Okay, thanks, sir.
Oh, there we go. So let's see what he says.
You all no longer work with terrorists? What's going on?
Sir, you've been asked to leave. You need to leave. I'm done with the mic. Okay, thanks, sir.
So he said, I'm done with the mic. That strikes me as measured. Something that implies that he's done talking, but doesn't technically say it. Much like the episode of Scam School we just watched, in which Brian very purposely, carefully phrased, I'm going to tap 1, 2, 3, and it's going to vanish.
Thank you, sir.
Can I present my records?
Sir, you've been asked to leave, please.
I'm not going to leave.
Okay. So at this point, he reveals that, okay, here comes the escalation.
You can give him to Sarah. All right, give him to Sarah.
So he's stepping outside of the structure of the meeting itself in order to play a bigger game of scoring points, which of course we're participating in now by even watching this, but.
Let's go. You've been asked to leave. This is a public meeting. Okay.
Okay, and now we saw this before, didn't we? We saw this when the woman who didn't have a right hand very understandably said, oh, well, obviously we could just push on, right? But the moment she even jokingly dictated the terms of the interaction, that was when the cop had to I would not be surprised if this is the moment that things escalate a lot, because you cannot let the citizen dictate these interactions. And that was the one moment that he definitely did.
Give me Sarah. You've been asked to leave.
Actions of Claremore.
On what grounds?
Right now.
I said on what grounds?
Arrest him.
Again, this doesn't look like the biggest miscarriage of justice. It looks like, yeah, when one party's playing for PR and the other's playing for keep the gig on rails, yeah, this is about what you'd expect. And then meanwhile, he is thrilled because I don't know if he's thrilled or not. Yeah, probably nobody's thrilled during this. But if what he wants to do is maximize his impact in the narrative, then that's a good visual.
Can you get my folder, please?
Yep, I will.
Can you get my notepad, please?
Yes, sir, I got it. I'll get your phone too, bud.
My phone's back there.
Okay, we just need everybody
Is that
to
yours?
sit
Yeah,
down.
it's fine.
We need to get through the meeting so that everyone can talk.
You want to take that? Sure.
Yeah, it seemed like a lot of people got what they wanted. It seemed like he got his point made with a highlight. I'd imagine a lot more people are talking and thinking about it now than they were before the meeting. And then meanwhile, the report of that ends up a lot more hyperbolic than the actual event. Because all of this becomes a compressed footnote in somebody else's speech. Somebody somewhere now has the ability to say they don't want us to be heard. They are arresting us for talking. And in all of that, technically no lies detected, but of course then the rhetoric gets more hyperbolic on there. I would say I'm going to say good game by all. Cops did not overreact. They kept it pro. The farmer got his point. He, with intention, stepped outside of the boundaries of the meeting and knew that something like this would be on the table, was willing to pay the cost in order to get the elevation of his message and his presence in the conversation. And we don't really get to see things from the perspective of the council members. But if I'm just going to autofill the council members' story, I'd imagine that all things being equal, they just want to sign checks and get this thing underway, step out of the way of whatever makes money come in and make them look good. And meanwhile, a lot of other folks are having conversations. Mark Cuban recently had a really good tweet about this. Here, let's do this. I'll ask a robot. Why not? Let's do this. Pow. And then we'll do boop, boop. Mark Cuban recently did a tweet about the fights about data centers not being about data centers, but about wealth inequality, I believe. Tell me, see if you can find that for me. Let's see if that pops up. But the bulk of his point, Mark Cuban's, was, and it had my attention instantly the moment it said that nobody's really talking about blank. It's really blankety blank. Here we go. It's time for everyone to realize that the fight data centers has nothing to do with data centers. 100%. Yes. Yes. Because think about it. There are a lot of things you can't affect when society decides to rewrite a whole bunch of rules. There are a lot of things you can't affect when it comes to what that means for your job, for your skill, for the groove that you've carved out in the world, your role in the community. Everything's up for grabs. And during that anxiety, you want to find something you can control. They become a proxy for the hate towards AI and the concentration and accumulation of wealth it's creating. Now, this is interesting. I wonder, like the first part, yeah, 100%. Bit of a hard left turn about it being really about the concentration of wealth. Then again, I don't know. I have less of a problem than most with the idea. As long as the tide is rising for everyone, it's I am less quick to incite by the idea of somebody having more than me, because a lot of people have had more than me, always, forever. In fact, I think it would be wildly unhealthy for me to judge my worth based on the number of people who have more than me. And in fact, all things being equal, I would like many people to have more than me, because what that implies is that I'm at the beginning of a quest and not at the end of holding on to things. But that's neither here nor there. Until those running the big LLMs understand this and start a community tour, not to explain the benefits of AI, it's too late for that, but to help towns and cities that may be impacted by job losses, and I'm a believer there will be net gains in a few years, this battle's only going to get more intense. And let me tell you now, no matter how much money you pay to your politicians and races, you will lose. I think this is spot on. I don't love the idea that politics has to be part of progress and business and all that stuff, but yeah, they are. Everybody who's a power mover in this is playing a pretty poor game in making people feel comfortable coming along for the ride. Now, does that mean that everybody needs to feel comfortable to go along for the ride? Hell no. It wasn't comfortable during the .com revolution. Wasn't comfortable during the Industrial Revolution. Revolutions don't tend to be comfortable, nor is it the job of people rewriting the rules to make sure everyone feels comfortable during the ride. In fact, you could make a case that it's really important that we all feel uncomfortable for a bit, as it's the only way for us to engage with it fully. That's neither here nor there. One thing I have learned is that being hated is not good for business. Amen. That is correct. How can they help? They'll tell you. You will need to do what they ask. Billions of dollars is a lot of money across towns and city programs. Across the major LLMs, it's the cost of doing business. Yeah. At the same time, I'd go, okay, then we get a bunch of I'd go. The big LLMs have lost the PR battle. Why? Because they all suck at putting people first. They have an SV attitude. I don't know what SV is. Silicon Valley attitude that makes them all think they are John Galt saving the world. Yep, that's true. That's true. Given the number of data centers and power that's needed today and going forward, if you don't kiss the asses of the people that go to work every day and are just trying to pay their bills, you will fall far, far short of the capacity you need to make your businesses work. Yeah, dude, called it. Like, yes, dummies, taking the time to explain things to people, think of it as an investment. You have cost yourself a lot of money because in your refusal to help people usher their way forward to see the benefits of what this strange new world could look like, you are causing negative expenses that now you're going to have to spend a lot of money to undo. Anyway. Good story. Glad we solved that one. We did it. Let's get to your questions. Okay, hold on. We got to do this. Get rid of this. Throw that on there. Mark Cuban has been a moneyed social figure who understands money is a social custom and is therefore stronger when easily accessed and at risk of abandonment if difficult. Yeah, that's right. Marion G says, well, data centers aren't built overnight by a genie. This is an interesting, they still need blue collar workers to paint the walls and lay the wires. Yeah. So friend of the show, Craig, recently appeared on Daily Tech News Show. And one of the things he mentioned is that he quit his job building data centers, and it had nothing to do with the water. All of the water talk is wildly unhelpful because they've got plenty of technologies to just, you put water in and then it just runs in a circle forever and ever and ever. If water is leaking out, then that's a crime that's being committed, not an indication of business as it's supposed to go. For him, the problem was that just like when westward expansion paid for a lot of graft and ugly stuff in the railroad business, we're seeing the same thing with data centers. Now, do we not want to have railroads? Probably not. We probably do want to have railroads. Could we be better about tempering the amount of graft and bad faith negotiations along the way? Yes, that is absolutely what we need to be doing. And so in this case, he didn't like all of the corners cut and all of the regulatory shrugging and backroom dealing that he saw. And I don't blame him. That's going to be ugly business. And all of that should have the bright light, sunshine of the sanitizing effect of daylight, I've heard it called. I would give hot water as a byproduct for free to the community if it comes to it. Yeah. As a matter of fact, that is actually just recently, what's her name? NVIDIA announced a new cooling system that keeps it at like 116 degrees, hotter than a hot tub. And the idea is up north, where you could just radiate out 116 degrees, that's exactly what it would be. You'd have a giant heat sink that would give warmth to whatever's near it. So we'll see. ATL John Boy, most of the LLMs are not the ones building the problematic data centers. It's the companies who lease the compute that build in residential areas. Yeah, that's an important thing to remember, is that there are multiple layers of abstraction where technically we all know that the threat of data centers goes back to LLMs, but it also goes back to crypto mining and a bunch of other things that require compute. And there's a massive disconnect between how we use computers in our daily lives, he says to everyone using compute right now, and the ugly externalities that we see to do it. And of course, the ugly externality is the thing that we can have a say in. But basically, demand is high and it's not going anywhere. And the question is, if I were to wade into this, if I had a dog in the fight at all, it would be daylight. I want all daylight on all the decisions. Now, unfortunately, when you're requesting daylight, you can tell a bunch of ghost stories. We saw a little bit of ghost storytelling from this farmer where it sounds like, you want to cast a shadow on a nefarious they out there. But of course, there is no they. There's only us. But demand isn't going anywhere. Really, what I'd be curious, if I had the time and a vote and was asked, none of which are true, then I would read a lot about what worked best. What are the exemplars of the best parts of expansion of the railroad system or during the Industrial Revolution? Note where all of the overcorrections are. All right. Well, my intern is here. So, you know what that means. Oh, she's here. Penelope. Oh. All right, guys. We got work to do on Ballyhoo. So I'm going to let you guys go. Penny, did you have anything you wanted to say?
Don't bother.
Don't bother.
It's not interesting. It's nothing. I don't know what it is yet. But I'm sure when you guys, I'm sure it sucks. I'm sure it's nothing. So you guys shouldn't care either.
Yep. That's right. You got it. All right. We'll see you guys. There it is.